Hello, welcome everyone to another turn of Yamamoto's Folly. It is December 12th, 1941, and we're continuing to try to expand as the Empire of Japan, still invading Guam here. I have a couple of bombardments set to come in on Guam. My submarines still try to find these carriers. It looks like I've got another one up here in their path. But it's not looking like I'm going to find any others. Allied S-boat near Laog. A little ASW action. Need to try to take care of those. They're throwing my shipping right there. And another Dutch boat comes in contact with one of my task forces just south of Camera Bay. DD Austral manages to evade my subs here in Makassar Strait. But Austral runs into my cruiser task force led by CL Shona. But only takes one hit. Looks like we're going to be on to the bombardment phase and then soon on to the air phase. I really wish that we had seen a little bit more sub-action over where we put a torpedo in the Lexington. Maybe during the day naval phase we'll see some. Just trying to soften up these troops at Guam. Otherwise, Guam can really turn into a slog if you're not careful. In my other game versus a Japanese opponent, they really... oh yeah, they did good job. I had a hard time taking Guam because they didn't really bombard and they kept attacking a little too much without resting. So I'm paying a little more attention to Guam than probably it deserves. I probably don't need to bombard it this much, but I just don't want to have that situation repeat itself. In any case, lots of good disablements and good destroyed squads there. Also do a number on that runway. And I have another task force bombarding Guam as well. Like I said, it's a little bit of overkill, but that's okay. Better have too much than not enough. Not as many casualties this time, but that still will reduce his combat value quite a bit. I think I actually have them set to attack this turn. Another Allied S-boat goes after my patrol, but misses, thankfully. Looks like one of my cargo ships sinks. I think that was probably at Kwajalein or Roy Number in the Marshalls. And defensive guns, unfortunately, hit a few of my transports offloading at Guam. I should transfer one of those BBs into that invasion task force. That always helps them be a little bit more durable to those coastal defense guns. I'm invading at Nauru Island. That was the force that used to be at Tarawa. Brought them over to Nauru Island. Try to take Nauru, and we'll try to take Ocean as well. I will have some resistance from both of them, because there are some small squads there. And the squads are a little bit beefier. Those allied squads at those locations are beefier and focus specific than in stock. Oh, nicely done. So I had a submarine stationed right around here, right around the Torres Strait. Very narrow, vulnerable spot for shipping. And we put a torpedo in light cruiser Ajax. Great job, I-76. Austral is going to make it home. I think this is the last barrier for Austral. Running the Makassar Strait was this last submarine right here, and she escapes. Just gonna bombard Guam a little bit more. Guam is near truck, so it's really easy for me to reload and hit Guam as many times as I'd like. A few more casualties on the ground there. And we're on to the AM air phase, it sounds like. And you hear that little sound clip playing in the background, send main body. That's telling us that we have some carrier action going on somewhere in the map. Could be my carriers, could be his carriers, we'll see. Sweeps take out 6 Warhawks to no losses. That's a good way to start the air phase. And another 4 Warhawks to no losses over Bataan. Oscar sweeps Singapore. Oscars are not as good of a sweeper as the Zero, but they still do an okay job. 3 destroyed with 1 Oscar lost. This is the 1D Oscar, which is a focus-specific addition. It has center-mounted cannons rather than the wing-mounted. They're more powerful, more accurate, better gun value on this plane. Actually, I don't know if they're more accurate, but they definitely have a better gun value. Helps to shoot down planes easier. Looks like we lost our music there. Sorry about that, guys. It'll just be me talking for the rest of the game. So, 96 Zeros escort this strike, which is great. We're going after Clark Field here. Have a little... Unfortunately, that escort is taking a little bit of damage from the cap. Yeah, taking a lot of damage from the cap. And fighters get among those bombers. Even though I had so many Zeros on escorts, they still get through to the bombers, which is unfortunate. The reason I'm going after Clark Field is recon indicated he still had 40 plus planes here. Oh man, Zero's taking it on the chin. Let's see how we wind up here. Alright, so 8 destroyed Zeros. That's terrible, frankly. 2 Bettys destroyed. Ooh, 10 losses. However, we do take out 5, 8, 9, 10, 11 of their planes. Probably still not worth it, but we might shutter that runway, which would be nice. Zero sweep Raval. I'm not sure if you saw that, but they had nothing there. That was interesting. They might have pulled their planes out of Raval. Again, still getting a good cap above Clark Field. I have to figure out where those fighters are flying from. I have good detection, recon on all these bases right here. So they could be doing some long-range cap from another base down here, or move the fighters to another base that I'm not aware of. Yeah, yikes. Again, lost 4 planes in that raid. However, do destroy 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's okay. And the runway hits now between those 3 raids. That field should almost be shut down. Seagulls are not effective on cap. Just putting it out there. And we're just going to continue to pound Crank Chowan. Yeah, keep those planes disabled and destroyed. Just keeping that runway from being effective. And even if the runway hits aren't enough to keep the airfield closed, if we can keep enough of these planes damaged, they won't be able to fly anyway. A sweep above Clark Field. We could have used that about 3 strikes ago. Again, sweeps come in a little bit late. We take out another Warhawk. If I had had those sweeps earlier, I don't think I would have taken so many losses. In any case, I have bombers going after this ground unit right here at Victoria Point. He is trying to use it to sever my rail line here, moving it southeast. And I have a unit here at Champon that is going to try to head to Victoria Point. I'm using my bombers to bomb this unit to try to mode knock it out of move mode into regular combat mode, which will slow it down enough for my forces to destroy it there at Victoria Point. Not doing a lot of damage there. It's good terrain for him, but really I'm just trying to slow him down, not really do damage. 2 fighters destroyed, no losses. I'll take it. These fighters still going after Georgetown Port. I need to change those orders. They don't need to be doing that anymore. They can start going after some of these ground units, try to mode knock them, and prevent them from fleeing. My forces aren't quite as far down in Malaya as I'd like them to be right now. My fighters, or excuse me, bombers here, go after this LCU that's going to headed north from Canton. It's clear terrain right here, so I'm able to do some decent damage. And again, no cap above Rangoon today, which is great news. And we can do some great damage on the ground. Look at those destroyed planes and damaged planes. I did raise my sallies up a little bit. They're flying in at 8,000 feet instead of 3,000 feet. I had them so low earlier because we were also going after the port. I may raise them up to 12,000 feet to get a little bit further above this flak because I'm still losing sallies, but I'm doing great damage to his planes. I think I say it every turn, but I'd always rather destroy a plane on the ground than in the air. So all the action right now, it seems to be centered around Asia here and the Dutch East Indies. I'm not seeing much in the Pacific. A little bombing at Xinjiang. Pretty ineffective. I do have some Oscar squadrons that I'm moving from Manchukuo over to China, and one of them will go to Xinjiang when I can get it in range, and to provide a little more cap there. Those nates just don't really cut it to take out bombers. So we have a raid on Bigan. Our fighters get among the bombers, don't do much damage. I do lose a Tina on the ground, but only 2 runway hits. So it could have been much worse. Probably not the last we've seen of that. Again, going after Rangoon. I think this will pretty decisively shut that runway down. Yeah, I always like to see those planes destroyed. Betty went after the port here, but didn't do really any damage at all, just some port hits. His ships might be gone from Cebu now. Going low at Guam to try to disrupt his troops, but they're in good terrain. I don't do any damage. Yeah, really nothing to speak of. That's okay. We'll go back to running the bombing the airfield tomorrow. Long air phase today. 4 planes destroyed to no losses. Good to see. We're into the PM air phase. Man, the AM air phase was lengthy. Still going after these units, trying to mode knock them. Another raid here on Clark Field. I do lose 2 Bettys, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his planes destroyed on the ground, including a heavy bomber, which is great news. Finally, Cap stops flying from the field. A few more runway hits. Going after Seaboot runway. Again, just destroying those planes on the ground. Oh, great job. Yeah, lots of planes destroyed. That's, I believe, KB2 down there doing that work. No more damage on that runway. And that was it for the air phase. It looks like we're on to the invasion phase and the land phase. Amphibious assault at Atelode Iliondon. That's just north of Celebes. Liberty attack here against this Chinese corps goes off flawlessly, and his corps is beat up and retreats. I take hex south of Apari here, just pushing south into Luzon. I shock attack at Guam.
Hello, all you poor GIs
perfect.
and Marines. This is Orphan Ann at Radio Tokyo, bringing you some hot music and another blow to your morale. Today, our High Command announced that the ever-victorious forces of the Japanese Empire have captured Guam.
Yeah, so that's great news. I take Guam with my first major attack. It really goes to show you how important those bombardments are to disrupt their troops. So that'll be nice. That division is still pretty fresh now. I'll be able to load it back up and use it for another invasion. I may take it to Wake as a little bit of overkill, but yeah, that's great news. Guam is now in my hands, and it didn't take me very long to pick it up. We also take Nauru Island, destroying his little guard force there. Take Jolo, landed at Jolo. I'll be able to immediately move bombers and fighters to Jolo, and just have a lot more both intelligence about what's going on in Makassar Strait, in the Saram Sea. I'll also be able to sink any shipping that's trying to evacuate. Allies shock attack at Aichang against my 3 divisions here. He has a lot of Chinese corps. They do get a 1 to 2 result. They do not roost my forts, excuse me. So I take 5 destroyed, 131 disabled, 16 destroys, 397 disabled. So it looks like I'm going to be able to hold out at Aichang for a little while longer. I'll probably send some reinforcements that way to try to eject those Chinese troops back out of the hex, though. Still attacking at Porto Princea. I get 1 to 2 odds, but I don't take any casualties, only the allies do. So I'm going to continue to try to take that hex. That was just a kind of poorly coordinated paratrooper drop I did at Porto Princea. I should have waited for my troops to be a little bit more ready and my transports to be at full strength before I attempted it. I tried to take it on the cheap, and because of that, it'll kind of turn into a little bit of a slog. That's okay. The fact that I took Jolo and Talo de Iliondon south of here will really accomplish what I was trying to do by taking these string of bases here. Let's take a look at the air losses today. I feel like it was probably pretty painful for the Allies. It was painful for me too, but we destroyed a lot of planes on the ground, it seems like. Yeah, good day for us. Allies lost 119 planes. We lose 64, so they take almost twice the losses. For once, the 0 isn't the number 1 plane destroyed during the day, but still, 22 losses. I'm not making 22 zeros a turn. Again, I really have to start rotating in some more Oscar squadrons because these zeros have been doing so much of that heavy lifting. And lots of Bettys destroyed too, which isn't good to see. A few Oscars, but other than that, mostly Allied planes on this list. And most of the ground losses also were the Allied planes. Let's look at ships sunk this turn. So they're saying the Constitution sunk, which was the aircraft carrier that we put a torpedo in. I don't believe it. That'd be too fortunate. Let's take a look at the point value. Yeah, we did not sink it. Our point value would be up around 600 or something if we had. So can't believe everything that they tell you there. Let's take a look at that fleeing task force, though. Okay, so it does look like they made it past all our submarines. You can see them there, all kind of in a line, in that straight line through to Pearl Harbor. We may move some around here in case he's trying to dogleg one way or the other away from these subs. But I think he has made it back to Pearl with those carriers, unfortunately. I'm just going to take a quick look at operations report. See if anything was admitted. And it doesn't look like any other ship losses were admitted that I can see. Nope. So that's about it. So thank you so much for watching the turn. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, we'll see you in the Discord. Thank you so much, and take care, everybody.